Hi, faster. Okay. Just as soon as I arrived in. Yeah, I went to use the washroom and fill up my water bottle just before getting started. So, I believe we are on episode 3, The Adventure of the Runaway Room. So I think we finished all the stories from Buria, and now we finally get to arrive in London. Even after studying a lot. Washroom. Yes. Washroom. Alright, now we get to have a new area. Episode 3. The Adventure of the Runaway Room.
Glancing over my records of the late last century, I am faced by the events of a certain bitter winter. A murder in a carriage as it sped through dense London fog in the dead of night. Though the victim and the perpetrator were the only ones inside, there were multiple witnesses to the crime itself. However, none could have imagined at the time that such a seemingly obvious case as this would end in such a horrendous manner.
Uh-huh.
My friend, Mr. Herlock Sholmes, once said of the incident, I believe that perhaps that case was indeed the prelude. The beginning of a long concerto that impressive Japanese student and I were to play together.
Uh-huh. So in other words, it's a series of events. Now we finally arrive in London.
Amazing. Is this really just a railway station?
Railway station or not, I've never seen such an enormous building before.
And look at all the steam locomotives.
London, 18th century.
This country is incredible.
I feel like I'm dreaming.
So this is the capital of Great Britain.
London.
So, where to?
Oh, hello.
So where to, chaps?
I'll take you wherever you want to go.
In that case, the Supreme Court in Whitehall, if you wouldn't mind.
My pleasure.
In fact, I'm British.
I suppose
So,
you're visiting students from abroad, eh?
Yes.
Right, so can you tell of the
I hope you
accuracy?
enjoy your stay.
I hope you enjoy your stay.
And welcome
What?
to the centre of the world. Great Britain's mighty capital, London.
Uh-huh. So we're finally in good old London. Why? I don't know. 18th of February, 9:21 a.m. British Supreme Court Lord Chief Justice's office. Lord Chief Justice office? Uh-huh. Why the cogs? Are we inside Big Ben? What an incredible place. It's so imposing. It's almost suffocating. This place is breathtaking. It looks like a fortress. Even though it looks like a library inside of a clock tower. There's some stone buildings like this in Japan now, of course. They've only been built in a few short decades since we opened our borders to the outside world. An authentic example like this has quite a different impact, wouldn't you agree? A far cry from the wood and paper most of our buildings are constructed from. Certainly unfamiliar. I think there's more to differences than just construction material. What is this place again? This is the Lord Chief Justice's office, Nenahano-san, in the Supreme Court of Great Britain. Lord Chief Justice. We had instructions to report here at this time, if circumstances were different. We were supposed to let the Lord Chief Justice know that we had arrived from Japan. But Kazuma can't. No. So instead, we are here in a different capacity, as envoys, to report the news of Kazuma-sama's death. Yes. And having delivered his or her message, an envoy's duty is done. So, we have to return to Japan. If we want to remain here in Great Britain, I have to take Kazuma's place as the lost selector for the study tour. Yes, which means you need to requisite qualifications as a lawyer. Which is what I've been studying for. Here in Great Britain, it is the Lord Chief Justice who appoints lawyers. That's the second reason why you're here, to have you officially recognized as a lawyer. It's the only way you will be able to remain here in London. I hope I'm up to scratch. Good morning! Sorry for keeping you. Who? Oh. I trust you aren't too exhausted after your long voyage from Japan. Oh, he's got a glare. He's got that glare. Humph, it seems I'm 1 hour, 12 minutes, and 47 seconds late. My apologies. Oh, no. Don't mention it. We've never been happier than we're standing around with nothing much to do. Really? How unfortunate. So, introductions. I am Mail Strongheart, Lord Chief Justice of the British Empire. I feel like a little mouse under an elephant's foot. Come on, Naruto, don't be a mouse. How you know? Are you reading his mind? Oh, it's an honor to meet you, Lord Chief Justice Strongheart. I'm Ryunosuke Naruto from the Empire of Japan. Well, Mr. Naruto. Welcome to London, the capital of our glorious British Empire. Ah, yes, thank you. Arigato gozaimasu. Frickin' hell, he's imposing. I swear to God, I don't even know what's what, but I'm just gonna talk to him. London. So, what are your impressions of our capital so far? How do you like London? Oh, help. I've been so nervous since I got here that I can't remember a single thing about the city. It's simply splendid, isn't it, Mr. Naruto? Oh. We had a wonderful view of some of London streets from the carriage on the way here from the station. Everything is so impressive and grand. I must say I'm almost lost for words. I'm glad to hear you like it. The city boasts tramways, piped water, and gas, even cable supplying electricity. We spearhead every revolutionary new technology in the world. Every visitor to London is astounded. Oh yes, astounded is the word. Thanks for saving me there, Susato-san. And everyone seems so jolly and full of vigor. Yes. There's much excitement about the upcoming Great Exhibition we'll be hosting here in London. Great Exhibition? Oh, cultural and technological achievements from around the globe are to be exhibited here in our great city. It will be the greatest spectacle of its kind in history. It will make Paris's World Fair look like a toy shop. Gosh, I can hardly imagine how magnificent it's going to be. So, Nath! Is this British enough for you? Great Britain's capital is nothing but magnificent. London is the center of the modern world. Even if you do say so yourself. The sun will never set on our great empire. Perhaps it is fate that in these progressive times we welcome visitors from the land of the rising sun. And speaking of... Lord Chief Justice, I think you were expecting a student of law for the study tour, weren't you? Absolutely. A Mr. Kazumi Asogi, if my memory serves. That's right. The British government has already been telegraphed a full report on the situation. I understand the young man lost his life aboard the steamship bound for our shores. That's amazing. The news reached him before he even arrived. My country naturally extends its deepest condolences to yours. Oh, thank you. Have you honored this appointment specifically to inform me of the news? Yes. We are here in the capacity of the envoys from Japan to report the sad news in person. They tell me you Japanese are a people of protocol and courtesy, and I see that it's true. And it is with some regret that I must inform you. Wait, let me double check the audio. I gotta check the audio. Are we still good? Yeah, I checked the audio. It's fine. We're good. Okay, so I must inform you that the death of the young lawyer means the study tour arrangement can no longer proceed. If you just hear us out, Lord Strongheart. What do you have to say, madame? It's about the study tour. Mr. Naruhito here would like to make a proposal. Would he now? Well, Mr. Naruhito. This is it then. The moment of truth. Where I have to put myself as a lawyer. Continuing the study tour, not... I was about to say Tutty store, but what the hell. The thing is, Lord Justice, or Lord Strongheart, I was wondering if perhaps you would consider allowing the study tour to go ahead. Don't misunderstand me. Britain would ideally like to see the tour go ahead. But without a lawyer from your country, there's nothing to be done. Well, in that case, what if there was someone else? Another lawyer from Japan, I mean. Is there something I don't know? Only a single lawyer was invited to Great Britain from your country. And that was Mr. Asogi, at least. And that is I've been led to understand. It's not British at all. How is this not British? It takes place in London. There's a lot of London-esque sort of imagery. Oh, I don't know. It looks like it takes place inside Big Ben. Zero accent. Well, that's because it's because we're reading it. So, I don't know if you're judging because of the opening cutscene. This is what I'm led to understand. Well, the thing is, this really isn't going well at all. You just can't see to find the right words to say this to this man. Mr. Naruhito, I could ruin things here if I'm not careful. What am I gonna say? If there is someone else here from Japan who could be described as a lawyer, it's... Actually, there's no one. It's Mr. Sato. It's me. It's me. It's me. I can do it. Is that so? I mean, I don't actually have any qualifications as such, but... No qualifications, you say, and yet you still claim to be a lawyer. I have acted as a lawyer in a court before. Only once. As it happens, I had someone to help me, and I was the accused. But glossing over the details, I've been spending every spare moment on the journey here to Great Britain studying. I've learned all about the British law and court proceedings while I was on board the SS Speria. The voyage from Japan is some 50 days, I believe. Not what you call much of a full education. To become a qualified lawyer here in Britain, not only do you need a university degree in law, you must also complete several years of training. I realize it's far too short of a period of time, but you can't just go back to Japan. Kazuma, Mr. Asogi's journey had only just begun. Coming here on the study tour was all he thought about. I have to carry on and do everything he planned to do. I know it sounds like I have an overly inflated opinion of myself, but I'll do anything to prove that I have what it takes, any test you care to set me. Just one chance. That's all I'm asking for. Please. 31 seconds. Sorry. Your opening statement there, Mr. Naruhito. It was 31 seconds long. Not too brief, not too protracted. A perfectly judged appeal, I would say. Which is a skill that would stand you in a good stead as a lawyer. Oh, thanks. So, you're willing to put those words to trial, are you? Well, I'm all for entertainment. But let me ask you one thing first, sir. Yes? You say you intend to do everything that Mr. Sogi planned to do. Are you firmly set on that path? Well, yes, that's my intention. I see. Am I imagining things? He's actually going to allow the city tour to go with the exception that Naruhodo is going to be tested in Asogi's stead? Or did his expression just alter a fraction there for all this sudden? Very well. You have your wish. I'll give you a chance. Or as they say in Britain, I'll give you a chance to test to become a specially certified lawyer. Whether you pass or fail is entirely down to you. Really? What is this test? So, what form will the test take exactly? Tell me, Mr. Naruhodo, what do you consider the role of a lawyer to be? Ah, crap. I feel like I'm gonna need to save it so many different times. Well, defending people, of course. Well said. So, let's have you defend someone. Huh? Your timing is perfect, in fact. There's an amped trial about to begin later today. No advocate has been appointed for the defense as of yet, so this will be welcome news. Today? Straight away? So, I'm gonna serve as a public defender? Just right off the bat! Straight away. If you manage to secure a verdict of not guilty, you'll have passed my test. What could be simpler? How do I get myself into these situations? Well, you want to be a lawyer, so you kinda had to do a small little test for Strongheart. Well, could I ask what sort of trial is it? Lord Strongheart? Yes, good question. Ah, I remember. It's a murder trial. So I gotta defend the person on trial. Murder? Extremely simple case, I understand. You really can't lose. Considering the fact that we're on the 3rd episode, I don't know if that could be simple. The first episode was simple. That's easy to say. But I should mention, just in case, if the defendant is found guilty, he will of course be sentenced to capital punishment. Capital punishment? Hell, he'll be put to death. Here in Great Britain, murderers are sent to the gallows without exception. Presumably, you read that much in your short C-based introduction to British law. We can't possibly agree to such a test. We'd be toying with a man's life. I'm the Lord Chief Justice, and I've decided it's acceptable. But you can't do that, can you? He would. There's no need to overcomplicate this. All you have to do is ensure that you don't lose. So get a not guilty verdict, and we become a lawyer. Screw up, and someone dies. So the defendant may live or die, depending on how well I perform in court. If I lose, he'll be hanged. Mr. Naruhodo, you've come to be claiming to be a lawyer. If you want me to take you seriously, you need to prove you're willing to do a lawyer's job. And you say you intend to see through the will of your compatriot, Mr. Sogi. I would like to understand just how far you're willing to go in order to make that happen. He's testing my resolve. What's the matter? You've fallen silent. I'm sorry, but time is pressing. The trial begins shortly. I need an answer from you now. What's it to be? What do I say? Do I agree to this absurd test? I'll do it. Alright then, if I have to give a decision now, my answer is I can't do it. I can't get the words out. 15 seconds. Your decision-making needs work if you want to be a lawyer. That was too slow. To answer a simple question. So, it's as I expected, is it? Sorry? You have noble intentions, but lack the resolve to see them through. This test is cancelled. Thank you for stopping by. Go and acquire a ticket for the passage back to the east. This conversation is over. Really? Yes, Lord Strongarm. Thank you for offering me a chance. Mr. Naruhodo. I'm sorry, Mr. Sato, but what could I do? It's alright. I understand. You do? It's not an easy decision to choose whether to defend a man in these circumstances. But resolve has absolutely nothing to do with it. What are you trying to say, madame? I think what Mr. Sato means is that no matter how badly I'd be recognized as a lawyer and stay here in Great Britain, to risk another man's life by treating his one and only chance at a trial so trivially would be utterly unforgivable, and I feel exactly the same way. I'm sure the defendant won't see this trial as a test, as some kind of experiment. A lawyer may fight for his clients in court day after day, but for each one of these clients, a particular day they stand in the dock may be the only chance they have to fight to prove their innocence. No, I was wrong. I'm not qualified to do that job yet. I'm sorry for wasting your precious time, Lord Chief Justice. Really? Wait, Mr. Naruhodo. Really? Oh, was there something else? It's approximately 20 minutes by carriage to the Old Bailey from here. If you leave immediately, you should still be there in time. But I just said that I was quite serious in what I told you. The defendant in this case has literally no one to advocate for him. What? At this point, he can't hope to find someone to represent him. The trial will begin without a defense. And if that happens, there's only one possible outcome. You will receive the most severe sentence the judge can pass down. But that's awful! But that is the truth. Why does it have to be like this? Please don't expect an answer to every question. The cold, hard truth of the matter is that there is only one person now with a chance to save this man from a very miserable end. And that is you. Really is only hope. So, what do you say now, madame? Me? What do you mean, Lord Strongheart? You said it wasn't an easy decision to choose whether to defend a man in these circumstances, and I agree. But in my estimation, it is purely and simply a matter of resolve. Oh. Our time is up here. I have a meeting to attend. I must leave in 2 minutes and 16 seconds. So, venture into our great city and enjoy yourselves. He's gone. The Old Bailey. If we're going to do this, Mr. Naruhodo, we must leave at once. Okay. Let's get gone. London's highest criminal court with an illustrious past, the Old Bailey. This is where I am to take my test and prove my worthiness as a lawyer. The Old Bailey. I thought it was like a jail, but it's actually a courthouse. 18th of February, 9:45 a.m., the Old Bailey. Defendant's antechamber. No number? I guess that's it. Oh, man. Oh, thank goodness. We're in time. There's still 15 minutes until the trial begins. I never knew a horse-driven carriage could go so fast. I thought my teeth were going to rattle loose. Did you hear what I said to the driver when we climbed aboard? Get us to their destination in 5 minutes, driver, and there's a guinea in it for you. It's one of my favorite lines from the Sherlock Holmes stories, and it worked perfectly. I'm pretty sure you must have tipped him well. I'm not sure why you're so pleased. I thought we were going to die, and we had to pay gold for the privilege. Well, at least we arrived here before the trial started. Yes, I suppose there's that. Anyway, I don't understand it. The court clerk said the defendant should be here. Yeah, but don't... Armband. Armband inherited from Kazuma, identified as aware as a defense lawyer throughout the Empire of Japan. Really? I wonder what that says. Kazumi Asogi. Lawyer's name is embroidered on the inside here. Look, Soggy, this was his band, of course. He had the heart set on the study tour in Great Britain. I'm sure he would have found the truth he longed for here. But he lost his life before he even had the chance to see the place. I have such a strong sense of hopes and dreams when I look at this armband, though. So instead of the badge, basically, Naruhado inherits the armband. There are scales of justice. They're symbol of defense, aren't they? Yes, that's right. The scales are a symbol of fairness, to show that all are treated equally in the eyes of the law. And they're rewarding to those who enter the courtroom without an impartial mind. If they are the mark of the defense, it would be more auspicious if they were weighing more heavily on the not guilty side, I think. Very impartial, I'm sure. So that's the only piece of evidence I got. Aside from that... Actually, I wouldn't count that as evidence, but what the hell. Court clerk said the defendant should be here. But there's no sign of him at all. Really? Where? So this is the Old Bailey. Even this room for defendants have to wait is so grand. Are you alright, Mr. Naruhado? I'm feeling tense. That's all. This place gives me the same sense of foreboding that I remember from the Supreme Court in Japan. An oppressive air, almost as if the building itself is going to crush whoever is about to be sentenced. It feels like only yesterday that I was the one about to be crushed. Yes, whoever the man you're to defend is, I imagine he's feeling very alone at this moment. Top of the morning to ya, madam. Sir? Who? What are yous doing? Follow me here. Tings are fair desperate, are they? Is that an Irish accent? Sorry. Would you look at those expressionless faces? From the east, are yous? We're from Japan. Yes. Ah, Japan, is it? Right, say no more. So, how much do you need? No, we're here, just here because... What? No need to explain, fella. I've been there myself. So have I. So I have. No place to go, none to eat, barely a penny to your name, and all in a strange, faraway land. Well, actually, we haven't found a place to stay yet, no. 'Tis grand. Let me start by giving you 1,000 guineas, say not now. 1,000 guineas? Please, Mr. Sato, you don't have to shout. But 1,000 guineas is enough to build an entire mansion in the most prestigious area of Tokyo. What? There's nothing to me at all. I like to ensure I have sufficient funds to weather a rainy day, you see. I have enough wealth to buy the city of London 2 or 3 times over. Would that much rain even fall in one day? Even so, we couldn't possibly accept such a large sum of money. Ah! That hit me in the eye. Don't get me wrong, fella. I'm not giving it to you, no strings attached. I'll be wanting you to do something for me. Oh? To be honest, 'tis a little embarrassing. The trial that's about to begin, you see, is for me good self here. I'll be in the dock. In other words, he'll be in stocks or something. So now, what I want you to do is come along with me and stand there beside me. Officially, you'd be my lawyer, but that's just a little detail now. Oh, well, the thing is, don't worry about the thing. All you have to do is stand up there next to me, nothing more. Otherwise, you see, the trial is going to start without me having any kind of representation at all. So it was true. Lord Chief Justice wasn't making it up. Sir Charlie, I have to ask, but does that mean you're the defendant in this trial? Is he the defendant? Bluster and blazes, do yez? Do yous not know who I am? Me, one of London's biggest names. No, sorry. We've only just arrived in the city, you see? You see, I suppose it isn't altogether impossible. Well, just next to Hyde Park there in the center of London is another beautiful park. Sorry, a park? What? He's calling me Gilded Park, full of blossoming flowers in the spring, singing birds and whatnot. I put my hand in my face and make a weird gesture like that. I donated it to the city, so I did. Ah, an entire park in central London. A city of smiles. That's my vision for London. There's nothing Magnus McGilded wouldn't do for the city and its square old people. That's amazing. I mean, really extraordinary. Ah, but now they've the gall to say I'm a good-for-nothing criminal. Me, Magnus McGilded. What is the matter with the London police, I ask ya? Ha. Ha. Ha! Alright, don't pass out. Seriously, is that really him? Magnus McGilded, 48. The defendant of the case is an incredibly wealthy philanthropist with a wonderful reputation in London. I'm to defend him as a test of my worthiness to become a lawyer. Mr. Naruhado, perhaps now would be a good time to introduce ourselves while the gentleman catches his breath. Good idea. Ha! 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 Mr. McGilded, the thing is, we're actually here in London to study British law. We're law students on a study tour from Japan, you see? So, if you don't have a lawyer for the trial yet, and you'd be happy to put yourself in our hands, we'll do our best. What was I after saying? You daft idiot. What? I've given you 1,000 guineas to stand up there next to me, haven't I? Well, yes, but I wasn't really offered to just stand up there next to you. Oh, I think I see what's going on here. Sorry. I know what you're taking. The Chancellor of Affairs seems to have more money than the Queen. No. But if that's true, why the blazes can't he hire the finest lawyer in all of England? Because no one else will represent you. Because he did it! That's the only explanation. Oh, geez. Well? No. Not at all. Although, it is a little strange to be honest. Why don't you have a lawyer, I mean? That would be the fault of the Reaper. Reaper? Sorry, did you just say Reaper? Are we talking about Mitch McCullough? No, that's politics, not legal stuff. Aye, the Green Reaper of the Bailey, Lord Barak von Zeeks. He's the prosecutor. Barak von Zeeks. Is this like Von Karma? Because this name is a little bit different. It's like the Van Zeeks. The prosecutor is the Green Reaper. When Van Zeeks stands for the prosecution, they call the accused as sacrificial lambs. And to this day, in every single trial in which he has been the prosecutor, the accused has been damned. What? So it's reached the desperate situation, where there's no one willing to stand in defense against a felon at all. You could say he's a living legend of the Old Bailey. I wouldn't call that a living legend. Because, like, goodness, Lord Barak von Zeeks. Van Zeeks? He must be an exceptionally talented prosecutor, then. Talented isn't the word you're looking for, madam. It's cursed. Cursed? What on earth? The defendant is summoned, and his counsel. Please make your way to the courtroom. The trial is about to begin. His counsel, that'll be me. Oh, 'tis time. Well then, fella, don't let me down. But I don't know anything about the case. You haven't told me what happened. Until you showed your face here. I'd made up my mind, so I had. Sorry. I decided I'd have to defend myself in there. How would that have worked? Well, Naruhado tried it before and that worked. But then you made an appearance, a student of law, wouldn't you know? 'Tis no accident, I can assure you of that. 'Tis fate, so don't get cold feet now, please. Really? I have to defend him? I literally know nothing about the case, or about this man who stands accused. In fact, the only thing I do know is that I can't just turn my back on him. Because the only way to stay in London is to defend this asshole. Mr. Naruhado, the man has no one. He'll have to stand alone in that courtroom, armed with nothing to defend himself. Yes, something that Kazuma would never allow to happen. Counsel of the defense, what are you doing? If you're late for the start of the trial, you will lose your right to stand. I'll be right there. What's happening then? My first trial in the British court. I hope you're watching over me, Kazuma. Because I have no idea how I'm going to manage this. Neither do I! I have no idea either! Oh, okay. What the... 18th February, 10 a.m. The Old Bailey Courtroom. Huh. Why is there a black and white fire brazier? What the... So this is the highest court in Great Britain. The Old Bailey. The centuries of history in this place is palpable, isn't it? It's so different to the Supreme Court in Japan. It feels both imposing and serene at the same time. The atmosphere almost makes words redundant. Whatever the country, determining a person's guilt or innocence is always a solemn affair. May I say something, Mr. Naraharu? Oh, yes, what? You're nervous looking! Your eyes look ready to pop out of your head again. Oh god. And he's got that tired look like Phoenix Wright. I know, but I just can't help it. What the? What the? That must be the judge. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. We are here today to determine the guilt or innocence of Mr. Magnus McGilden. I now call upon the counsels for the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed.
The prosecution is fully prepared.
He looks like Edgeworth. What is up with that? That must be the Reaper of the Bailey. He really does look fully prepared to dispatch his next poor victims to the underworld. Counsel for the defense. You appear to be Eastern. Do you speak English? Huh? Oh, yes, of course. Sorry. He asked if the defense was ready. And I couldn't be further from ready if I tried. He looks very much like Edgeworth. What is up with that? Those eyes please me. Nipponese. What? Is that supposed to be like Japanese, but Nipponese? I don't know, maybe I don't even know. They shroud your fear, your doubt, your trepidation. They run wild, clinging to some phantom notion of courage. The quintessential look of a sacrificial lamb. Ah, a cold shiver just ran down my spine, all the way to the tip of my toes. No, Mr. McGilden. Yes, my lord. You stand accused of murder, a capital offense. You could be sent to the gallows if found guilty. Are you quite sure you wish to entrust your defense to this foreigner? As I've always said, my lord, 'tis a grand thing to give opportunities to the young. Even if the fellows are student from some little island off the Far East. It is not the British way to ignore the dangers of yourself and give the less fortunate a fair chance. Interesting how you say that. I'd like to think that acts of chivalry do the great British Empire proud. Listen, Mr. McGilden, what a fine gentleman London has in him. Did you hear they donated £5,000 to the government the other day? Father, please, when we go and play him. Wait, what? It seems as though everyone in the public gallery is firmly behind Mr. McGilden. Why? It's definitely welcome news, and he certainly has a way with words. I'm surprised he couldn't convince anyone to defend him. But why wouldn't a lawyer represent him? Eloquently put, Mr. McGilden. And most laudable sentiments. No!
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I'm sure I need hardly remind you that you 6 members of the public have been selected for your impartiality. Are you ready to proceed?
So that's the jury?
Yes, my lord. If the taxes descend us to the gallows where they belong, I'm more than ready.
At the manor, his lordship always says we should dispose of rubbish properly. Naturally, I agree.
Ha! Any criminals here will soon be wishing they never set eyes on me.
What? Why didn't juror number 4 say 3 or 4 say anything?
I feel that's it.
Oh, don't mind me, my dears. I'll just be getting on with my knitting. Must finish these mitts for my grandson. Really? Miss Senahado, those people are the jury. Yes, that's something we don't have in Japan yet. Because all the Phoenix Wright games never had a jury. Except for Apollo Justice. And I haven't really played Dual Destinies or Spirit of Justice yet. I played the first 3 games. I know Apollo Justice kind of has a jury system, but like at the very last case, but this is like the first like Ace Attorney game that has a jury system. That's right, I've only ever read about it. But here in Great Britain, the court's final verdict depends on the opinions of these 6 juries. The judge passes a sentence according to law, but the jurors determine the guilt based on common sense. So the defendant is ultimately judged from 2 completely different points of view. How exactly did the jurors give their verdict? That I don't know, but I'm sure it will become clear as the trial progresses. Yes.
Prosecutor Van Zeeks. My lord. It's been a number of years since we've seen you here in the courtroom. I thought you renounced your fame. I'm known as the Reaper of Old Bailey, my lord. Infamy rather than fame, I must say. But yes, 5 years have passed since I last spread my wings in this capacity. So, what brings you back? Is there some change of circumstance in which the court should be aware? I leave that to your imagination, my lord.
So the Reaper has been out of action for 5 years? Why? Why? Why did you have to choose today of all days to make a comeback? Don't lose heart. Mr. Naruhodo.
As you wish, sir. The court nevertheless welcomes your return. Now then, opening statements, I think. A summary of the case, if you please. Certainly, my lord. As your lordship is aware, this is a case of overwhelming simplicity.
You must be the only ones in here who aren't aware.
The incident took place in the late evening. 3 days passed. The hour was some minutes after 10. The victim was a maker of building bricks known as the committee as Thrice-Fired Mason.
Sorry, thrice.
He was a very accomplished craftsman. The bricks he fired were said to be almost indestructible.
What?
The victim's corpse was discovered in an omnibus in service on the streets of London at the time.
Oh no, wait, shit, it's Benji.
The victim's corpse was discovered in an omnibus in service on the streets of London at the time. A dagger that has been thrust into the victim's abdomen is believed to be the ultimate cause of death. Here's the autopsy report from the investigating medical officer at Scotland Yard. Thank you, Counsel. I shall accept that and the photograph as evidence.
Autopsy report. If I was in the same room, I would not be able to take it seriously. I'm way too immature. What do you mean? Like, the voice acting that I'm doing, or like the story that's going on? The photograph, the crime scene has been entered. But I should be looking that up. I wonder. The story. Really? Well, technically it's 18th century. I wouldn't say Japan because it takes place in Britain now. Ugh. We're in London. We're in London, England now. We're in a different courtroom. Wait, what were the items I got? The autopsy report prepared by the Scotland Yard coroner gives the cause of death as the internal hemorrhaging as a result of a single stab wound to the abdomen. Ugh. One moment. Ah, dang, I sneeze a lot. Ugh. I'm liking this so far. The prosecutor looks like Edgeworth. Why did he look like Edgeworth? Because the Capcom developers said so. Hold on a second. Ugh. Oh my god. What happens when I sneeze a lot? Okay, so. Single stab wound to the chest. Time and cause of death, 15th of February. Well, I live in Birmingham, so... Wait, you both live in freaking London, England? Or no, in England? In the United Kingdom, nonetheless. Thrice Fire Mason, male, age 54, occupation brickmaker, time, cause of death, 15th February, 10 to 11 p.m. Stabbed once in the abdomen with a knife while journeying in an omnibus. Died due to internal resulting from trauma. That's the only thing we got here. Crime scene photograph. Wait, what? Photograph of the victim taken on the omnibus. The knife in the abdomen is clearly visible, but his face is partially obscured from view by an old crooked hat. Huh. Why is that? Okay. And one further item of evidence. The prosecution wishes to submit these as well.
And these are... Good lord! Is that blood, counsel?
Yes, my lord. Seized by a policeman who arrives at the scene. Well, close to it, I guess Wales part of Birmingham? Really? Oh, man. Seized by a policeman who arrived at the scene. These gore-soaked gloves were taken from the hands of the accused when he was arrested. What? Mr. McGildy's gloves had blood on them? Why? Why did it have blood? Why?
Yes, I will accept these as evidence as well.
The defendant's leather gloves. The defendant was wearing at the time of the incident. There is a bloodstain on the right glove. How did I get into this? I'm backed in a corner before I've even started. Continuing. According to the driver of the omnibus, there were only 2 passengers traveling inside his vehicle at the time. Only 2. Obviously, one of those passengers was the deceased brickmaker, Mr. Mason. The other was the accused, Magnus McGilden! Oh, the first 3 jurors have been convinced.
Well, rather damning circumstances to say the least. Defendant, what say you?
Well, of course, I have no recollection of such a thing. I smiled gleefully at everybody, and talk in such a weird Irish accent. Mr. McGilden. To be sure, I rode the omnibus that evening. But whenever I'm in a carriage, I'm taken with a fierce tiredness and always succumb to it.
Are you claiming to have been asleep?
Really wonder how they would have sounded if they talked. I don't know, I'm just making the voices as I go along. Here's the motion of the carriage, my lord. Little tinged, so it is. And when I opened my eyes again, 'twas a desperate sight before me, the body of a man I've never laid eyes on before in me life. Now I ask yous, what a good-hearted soul wouldn't rush to have a fellow bleeding from his stomach? I wasn't able to start worrying about me gloves now, was I? I reached out to give the man a hand. So the blood gone in the gloves then, after the man had been killed.
Unfortunately, That statement of the drivers is only the beginning.
What? That's not at all. That's not all of it?
There were multiple witnesses to the precise moment at which the brickmaker was fatally stabbed.
Oh, great. The next 3 jurors were convinced straight off the bat.
Order! Order! When the killing took place, only the victim and the accused were inside the carriage. And there were witnesses to the crime. This is not just a case of compelling evidence. This is British no-
Why is her forehead so big? Who? I don't even know.
This is not just a case of compelling evidence. This is British nobility at its best. It's the nail in the coffin for the accused. Also, I point my finger like that. You see?
What?
Thank you, Counsel. The circumstances of the crime have been made quite clear. I think we will hear testimony from these 2 witnesses first of all. Your wish is my command. Bailiff! Bring the witnesses in at once!
I look serious. What the? How many witnesses do we have? 3.
Witnesses, your names and occupations. My name, well, everyone calls me Beppo. At least I think that's what it sounds like. Dear God, what is my name? I drive an omnibus to the East End. Bruce Fairplay. I'm a banker of the city.
My name's First. Lady First. I make lady jokes. Dear God, what is wrong with me? I make hats for gents, including the one I'm wearing right now.
Let's begin by confirming the facts. 3 days ago, at a short time after 10 o'clock in the evening, all of you present in the stand were in an omnibus and witnesses to the aforementioned incident. Is that correct? Yes, sir. I shiver. Quite right.
Yes, sir. That's right, sir.
Very well then. Let's proceed to your formal testimonies, please.
Double check a video or something. 1 second.
Each of you will tell the court precisely what you saw.
Okay. Witness testimony. What the witnesses saw.
It was the last bus of the evening. I had a few customers. I remember it well. The victim and the man accused of killing him were sat each next to each other inside the bus. Then out of the blue, the accused just reached over and plunged a knife right into his guts.
Oh, that's right. You stabbed him. I screamed. I did. Ah! I couldn't help it. As soon as I heard it scream, I stopped my bus, and then I saw it too. I whipped someone.
Unambiguous testimony, I must say. Exactly, my lord. These men witnessed the incident in the omnibus with their own eyes.
Menzies is probably the worst British name I've ever seen. I don't know, it sounds more German than British. Is Van, like, there's Von Karma in the Phoenix Wright series. Like, Manfred Von Karma and Franziska Von Karma. But now we have Barak Von Karma. Let me double check. Oh my god, we already got the witnesses right here. Oh, no, not the witnesses. The witnesses. Barak Van Zieks. Oh man. Oops! I skipped. But I can always look. These men witnesses the incident with their own eyes. I'd like to ask a question if I may.
Yes, counsel.
Well, this testimony makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever.
Why not?
Well, the incident took place inside a moving carriage, didn't it? As has been clearly stated from the outset. It's a Dutch name. Really? Okay. From the outset, yes. Well, in that case... How could those two witnesses possibly have seen what happened? There's no way they could have seen the inside of the moving carriage. How quaint. I'd read that civilization in the Eastern Island nations was a good century behind our own. According to Google Translate. Okay. So somehow Google Translate picked up that name as Dutch. But you're here in London yourself. Are you really so ignorant about our omnibuses? Huh? Tell me. My Nipponese... What the Nipponese? Why? My Nipponese friend. Yes, I can be curious. Have you even traveled in an omnibus? Well, no. We only arrived in London this morning. No matter. I've arranged for us all to see for ourselves the actual scene of the crime, that is. What do you mean, the actual scene? How? A carriage is designed to be moved after all. Presumably you understand that much. Yes. It translated from sick and dying of laughter. Wait, what? It translated to from sick and dying of what? In Dutch? The omnibus in which this bloody crime took place is here today in this very building. Here. What? The entire carriage? Bailiff! Bring forth the stricken omnibus! I swear to God. London, 5th Avenue, job masters. Oh God. So that's an omnibus. The omnibus. I can't believe they could bring something so enormous in here. Great Britain's courtrooms are amazing. As you can see, the omnibus is pulled in by 2 horses and can carry up to 8 passengers. From 6. Okay. Okay. Really? 4 passengers seated inside the enclosed cabin, and another 4 on the rooftop deck above. Every Londoner knows that the best views of the city architecture and such are to be had from the top of the omnibus. And I should point out to our foreign guest that there is a skylight in the roof, allowing a view of the interior from the seats above. Ah, skylight. Oh! The penny drops at last, I see. These 2 gentlemen were occupying the rooftop seats of this omnibus when the murder took place. So that is how they came to witness the grim incident. Through the skylight. Ugh! That makes perfect sense.
What, counsel? Well, counsel, this is a first. In all my years behind the bench, I've never experienced the crime scene itself being brought to the courtroom.
That bus looks so bad, I want to bomb it. Why?
There are no more important clues remaining inside the carriage, my lord.
I would like to submit the omnibus itself as evidence.
That is the prosecutor's wish. Also, I made an emotional gesture. Oh damn, this wig won't stop falling off! And my glasses! Very well, I see no reason why not. This omnibus is hereby formally accepted as evidence.
The omnibus, the 8-seater omnibus that was the scene of the crime. There were passengers both inside the carriage and on the roof of the deck that night. Seats 8. I can't believe it. The entire crime scene entered as evidence. Really? Really? And also I can look at the entire thing. Literally, I can look at this. My God. Okay, so... it shows a skylight right there. You can certainly see inside the carriage through this opening. That's for sure. Yes, and there's a lamp in the enclosed cabin. There's I'm sure the witnesses would be able to see it quite clearly. That's not good for us. Speaking of inside the cabin, maybe we should take a look. How do we take a look inside the cabin? Well, let's open the door and go inside, shall we? Ah, the scene of the murder. The judge needs to take that off, that fake ass hair. The scene of the murder, it's horrible. Really, you can go inside? Okay, so they would have been able to see here. Huh, interesting. So that's a blood stain, that's probably where the victim died. That's a blood that soaked into the seat, the victim's obviously. Yes, and that seat would be clearly visible from the roof deck. Would you really stab someone in full view of other passengers like that? I wonder. Well, it was after dark, and there was a lamp in here, so perhaps the culprit couldn't see anything outside through the skylight. Whichever way you look at it, it doesn't seem like it was a planned attack. Maybe. But why is this selectable? That's the question. This is probably where McGill did sit. It's just ketchup, what do you mean? The seat looks reasonably soft, but it's actually rather hard when you sit on it. And only just wide enough for two gentlemen to sit side by side, really? Of course, an English gentlewoman would be dressed in such finery. It would be quite impossible for her to climb up to the roof deck, so she would have to be seated in here. A woman in a kimono would have the same problem. Women's clothes are very impractical, aren't they? Okay, but is this the same thing? The seat has a handle, it seems. That's what she said. What the? You can store things in here. This looks like all the sorts of equipment that might be needed to keep the omnibus running. Feeding tubes, tools to repair wheels, blankets, horseshoeing tools. There's a storage compartment for the coachman to keep his things, it seems. There doesn't seem to be any space for passengers to stow their luggage, that's for sure. Well, I don't imagine it would be very convenient for that purpose anyways. Huh. Now, what is this? What does this say? Ah, that's a poster for the great exhibition that's due to start 6 months from now. There's a lot of focus being drawn to the Crystal Tower, the centerpiece of the whole exposition. Oh, the Crystal Tower. It's under construction already, I believe. People over London must be fizzing with excitement at the prospect of such a grand event. Alright, I think I need to back out. All the way. Yes. So this is probably where the two witnesses sat. This is the roof deck of the omnibus. Oh, you must have a wonderful view of London Street from up here. The people sit all the way up here on bitter winter nights with cold air rushing against them. And they have to pay money to do so? Brr, I can't imagine how cold it must feel. That just made me think of something horrible. Can you imagine being dragged around the city in the freezing cold as punishment? Perhaps that is the real price you pay to stay out late. And that is probably where the driver sat, but there's not much I can examine for the time being. What about the blood on the glove? Anything about the blood on the glove? I like the cold. This is definitely blood, isn't it? Not the most pleasant sight to be confronted with our first day in London. Well, nothing will come of grumbling now. No. By the way, is Mr. McGill right-handed? Yes, I believe so. He was toying with the coin in his right hand a little earlier. Ha, pity. If only he'd been left-handed. Yeah, then I could say, the accused is left-handed! That's impossible! I think blood on either glove would be fairly incriminating, really. Okay, there's not much I can look at. There's nothing much I can look at. I just have to progress. Move on and see what's what. I can't believe it. Hold on a second. I need water. Yes, Great Britain is simply extraordinary. I could help myself a lot by giving that omnibus a thorough examination, seeing as it's here. I think I did. I don't know if I missed something.
Let us continue with the proceedings then. Your cross-examination, counsel. Pray don't expect this nippity stray to understand the intricacies of a British court's cross-examination rights.
you gonna slap yourself in the face? No, you're not gonna slap yourself. Alright, my first cross-examination in a British court. You are gonna slap yourself in the face! Focus, Ryunosuke. Focus. I don't... Cross-examination. Has Phoenix Wright ever slapped himself across the face like that? I don't know. What the witnesses saw. Okay. Okay, I probably need to save it at least a few times. And I gotta get ready to go to bed at like 9:45 because I gotta sleep. I gotta have a bunch of melatonin before I go to bed. It was the last bus of the evening, so I had a few customers. I remember it well. Really? It was the last bus of the evening. I don't know. I feel like I gotta look at something. But I don't know what. Like, I gotta... London head office. Is there anything else I can look at? Masters. Okay, skip this whole part. Okay. There's gotta be something I missed, but what? What am I not getting? There's gotta be something I gotta get out of this omnibus. See the murder. It has to be something I missed, but what? That's the Eiffel Tower. Untap and French Court are very different. Okay, that's the Crystal Tower. Ah, the poster for due to start. No, saw that. There's gotta be something, but what? Okay, up tempo. That's a poster for the Great Exhibition. No, I've seen that already. There's gotta be something, but what? The handle. I've already looked at the handle. The lamp would have been lit. Bloodstain, that's here. Skylight. It's quite a large skylight, isn't it? Yeah, it's quite large enough to afford a good view into the cabin from the roof deck. And there doesn't appear to be a handle or catch of description. So I suppose it can't be opened from inside the cabin at least. Huh. I don't know. There's gotta be something off of this. I don't know. Have you seen enough? Let's step back outside then. Is there anything I can examine? Anything? Or not? I don't know. Who knows? Moving on. Nada. Can't find anything out of place. This is probably where they climb up. Phoenix Wright. Phoenix Wright Omnibus. Really? You have a Phoenix Wright Omnibus. The Phoenix Wright name is right on there. Okay. Literally, Phoenix Wright's name is on there. Oh my god. I didn't notice that just until now. Alright, let's just listen to what we got. Sorry. It was the last omnibus of the evening, so I had a few customers. I remember it well. Hold it! Now you said hold it. Yes, I think it was sometime after 10, wasn't it? Oh, yes, sir. That's right, sir. Yes, it was very cold on the first. Freezing, in fact. And you had 4 passengers on board at the time, is that correct? Yes. Not traveling at the same time, but of course, but no. And there were no other passengers when the incident took... Oh, crap. And there were no other passengers when the incident took place. No one alighted, for example. You're quite right with that, sir. No other passengers like that. None. And no one else will disagree with me as I say this. So nobody fled the scene of the crime, then. I have to say, the boss insists on it running. He does every evening. That the bus, the day, I still shiver and cold. Somehow I'm blowing smoke out of my mouth. It's not even cold in here. What the hell? I give up. But I do wonder sometimes if it's altogether worthwhile. Yes, so sorry to say. What do you mean by that? Well, they being so cold and everything, and only making 20 pence on the run, you say? Yes, I spent that much on the pub on the way home just trying to warm up again. The victim and the man accused of killing him were sat next to each other inside the bus. Hold it! you saw them through the skylight in the roof of the carriage. That's right. When you sit up on the top deck, the window's right there at your feet. Right there it is. There was a lamp on the inside, so I had a pretty good view. The two of them were wearing hats. The two of them were wearing hats, and I couldn't exactly make out their faces. But there's not a shred of doubt in my mind that it was Mr. McGilded. How can you be so sure? Well, how can I put it politely? Mr. McGilded is a gentleman of a rather small stature. I couldn't have mistaken him for anyone else. Let's not forget that when the vehicle came to a halt, the only people inside the enclosed cabin were the deceased Mr. Mason and Mr. McGilded. There's no room for doubt here. I really wish there was. Then out of the blue, the accused just reached over and plunged a knife right into his guts. Why? Why? Okay. Hold it! Why? You actually saw the exact moment it happened? Didn't I already testify to that? Yeah, see? I got my cane as well. There are fair-dinkum, hard-working city bankers not considered trustworthy these days? No? Oh, no. I didn't mean that. It's no good. I really gotta back this up. Perhaps you could just tell us what you saw in a little more detail, if that's... My lord!
Juror number 3, what's the meaning of this?
My mind is made up, my lord. Completely and utterly made up. What? Made up about what? I don't like the stinking rich. Never have. Even if I have the same attitude as them. They're always up to something, or other that they shouldn't be. Every one of them. And that little leprechaun of a man is no exception. Well, he can't fool me! What the hell? There's no point wasting time listening to any more of this. That's my opinion on the matter, anyway. What?
That is precisely what I was about to say! As the foreman of the jury, it's my duty to set a good example to my fellow jurors. You'll see.
Is that the guilty meter? What the? What is happening here? Let me see. Ah, yes. It seems that how the members of the jury give their verdicts. What? With fire? Apparently, yes. White for innocent, black for guilty. So that's like a big, gigantic guilty meter? White for innocent, black for guilty. As the 6 members of the jury make up their minds about the case, one by one they each cast a ball of fire into the great scales of justice as we saw a moment ago. So if those enormous scales fall completely to the black side, does that mean the judge is going to issue a guilty verdict? Literally, because these guys don't like rich people. Let's do our very best to make sure that doesn't happen. Now I'm even more worried than I was before.
Very well. The court acknowledges the change in the jury's stance. Counsel for the defense, please continue with your cross-examination.
This is a nightmare. That's right. He stabbed him. I screamed. Ah! I did. I do it again. I can't stop screaming. Couldn't help it. What does this have to do with the whole process? Couldn't help it. Hold it! He stabbed him, you say, and you were sitting up on the roof deck, were you? Yes, that's right, sir. I was up on the roof seats. I remember seeing the little gent sitting next to the fellow that I was stabbed. I've been thinking about that new hat design, you see? I was just gazing absent-mindedly around. But then I happened to look down through the skylight. It was sticking right out of his belly. That a huge great knife.
A grim sight indeed.
Ah, that didn't help me at all. And that's just gonna convince the jurors. The jury look like they're even more convinced my client did it than they were before. It appears to have made everyone more dubious that Mr. Gilded is telling the truth. If only we had some evidence to counter their suspicions. Mr. First. Oh, yeah, yes, sir! Is this the knife you saw? Oh, grief! Yes, that's it! The very one! Is that? Yes, counsel. This is the blade that was driven into the victim's belly like a stake through the heart. Very interesting you say that, considering the fact that you look like a frickin' vampire yourself.
That is a blade of considerable size, counsel.
It is, and furthermore, the scabbard is emblazoned prominently with a certain initial. The letter M, which seems oddly familiar. Please, no. M. For Magnus, perhaps, or McGilded, possibly. Take your pick. If we were to go by a list of names with people who have frickin' names with M's, we would pretty much go with Mace, the victim himself, or even the Grand Lord Justice. So the I don't think you consider those other two possibilities. It seems this particular big name in London made a magnificent mistake.
Objection!
Oh my god, slap harder! But there are M's everywhere. Yes. Like in Mason.
Objection!
What the? This blade is far too extravagant for a poor brickmaker to have owned. No! This weapon of murder most certainly belongs to the accused.
Not conclusive, but certainly compelling, counsel.
Murder weapon has been entered into the court record. Quality and fancy ornaments suggest it must be quite valuable. My lords, if you'll forgive the interruption.
Juror number 2. Go on.
Mr. McGill is a pillar of a society and gentleman, and gentlemen's words should be sacrosanct. However, you're gonna cast guilty. Those of us in service know we must accept hard truths. Wait, what are you about to do? Dispose of the rubbish! Oh, dang it. No! I don't wish to cause offense, but I do like to eradicate all traces of filth and grime. What? Oh, no. What kind of a voice should I give this juror? I have painstakingly typed every word uttered here today, and cross-referenced all the facts. So you're like a stenographer? But you're not registered as a stenographer. As such, I'm now in position to draw the only logical conclusion. Oh, great. Oh... Did I screw up somewhere? Not again. That's 4 out of the 6 jury members who propose a guilty verdict. There are only 2 left. We've had it. Every time I press those witnesses for more information, I just make the situation worse. Nevertheless, how? How else am I supposed to figure out things unless I press them? But that's just gonna make them pissed off. Nevertheless, what we need more than anything at the moment is more information. We're still very much in the dark. But that's just gonna cause them to cast guilty every single time. I suppose I'll have to keep pressing the witnesses, knowing that more sparks may well fly. We must give up hope that we'll uncover something that will give us a way to fight back. But either they'll vote guilty, and what? It'll end before I even began? Did I screw up? All right, I'll keep trying. I can't give up. There's gotta be a way. I just need to keep calm and listen to the witnesses' statements again. Okay. Okay, hold on a second. I need to save it. So 4 out of the 6. What a guilty. Save it. Oh man. Alright. Let's see what we got going here. As soon as I heard the scream, I stopped the bus, and then I saw it too. Hold it! Am I gonna get a guilty verdict for this? Or what exactly did you see? Oh, well, sir. That would be the passenger, sir. Yes, he collapsed on the floor. He was. Which one? And by the passenger, obviously, you're referring to the victim, Mr. Mason, the brickmaker. And the other passenger. The knife in his hand, like this. Wait, what? By the other passenger, obviously referring to the accused, Mr. Magnus McGilded. And then they plunged it like this, stabbing the other passenger in the belly. What? Oh, crap. My lord, I wish to speak. Oh, crap, they're gonna feel guilty.
Yes, Joe number 5. Do I take it that you, too? As a master of the London Guild of Coachmen, the idea of a murder being committed in one of the city carriages is utterly abhorrent to me. It wouldn't be right to make a decision before hearing all the facts, though, I said to myself.
You're gonna vote guilty.
But I've heard enough now. The horse has bolted, as I say.
What? No, please, just keep an open mind a little.
Jeep now, Civil Blaze, finishes in sight.
Oh, crap, one more.
Beppo is a long-standing member of the guild, and I trust what the man says. Oh, thank you, sir. You're too kind, sir.
Ah! This is too unkind, sir.
Which now means that 5 jurors agree to condemn this man.
Please don't do it. 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 But why? Don't randomly change your mind.
Madam Juror number 6.
Yes, dear? What can I do for you?
You have heard the testimonies of the witnesses in the stand.
Oh, yes, I certainly have. Still got my hearing, you know.
Then, pray tell, why you yet pronounced your leaning?
Well, dear, the thing is, I'm a creature of habit, me. I always go to the park at around this time of day, and sit on a nice bench and get on with my knitting.
Uh-huh.
There's a lovely little park just near where I live. McGillity Park, it's called. You're the only one who's actually going to have some interest in the accused, but I don't think this should be based on personal interest. The gentleman donated to the city, you know, to put a smile on Londoners' face, he said. I should probably save it before anything. Are you seriously going to vote guilty simply because you are so emotionally compelled? You like the park, you like that, it was donated by that. I can't imagine such a fine young gentleman would have it in him to take another man's life. Oh no, he's always doing wonderful things for the city. That's right, a man like that wouldn't stab someone, surely? Mother, maybe go to the McGillity Park Library and borrow some more books?
How many Londoners live with their heads in the clouds? You people not know. What kind of a man Magnus McGilded really is?
What kind of a man is he?
The philanthropist Magnus McGilded has enough wealth to purchase the entire city he claims to value so highly. Where did all that wealth come from? Your client is a Shylock, sir, and one with the very darkest of souls.
What? Stone of the Crows! What? What's with that weird heart symbol there? And a surprised look you got.
McGilded lends money at an extraordinary rates of interest so his victims have no hope of repaying him. When they default, he takes possessions of everything they own. He is a vulture that preys on the weak.
I've never heard of any mention of that before.
Your faculties haven't deserted you, I'm sure, madame. So has this thought not crossed your mind? Would a man wealthy enough to buy London in its entirety not have a carriage of his own?
Wait, what?
What possible reason could this man have had to make use of a public omnibus service?
You're not saying that?
The victim, the poor brickmaker, had next to nothing to his name, save considerable financial liability. It will come as no surprise that this creditor was the accused, Magnus McGilden. But let it also be known that the very day Mr. Mason was killed was the final repayment date for his debt. Good gracious! The brickmaker was destitute. He had lost his house. He had not a shilling with which to repay his debt. And in the end, this pitiful soul had the very last thing he'd taken from him, his life. By the merciless philanthropist pretender, Magnus McGilden!
I don't believe it.
Hold it!
Mr. Sato, if I might add something briefly. Mr. Sato. You claim that the victim had been lent money by the Mr. McGilden. But where is the evidence to support your claim?
Watch while I drink wine and explain to you. Also, I sound like Cell. Actually, no, I don't. Pray forgive the discourtesy of my filling my hollow chalice in the court of law. Haha, there it is! Lord Van Zeek's hollow chalice!
What? How can this be considered acceptable? It's more dramatic.
But I find myself in unexpectedly good humor. I had heard ladies from the Far East could show great courage, but I did not expect to experience it myself.
As a judicial assistant to the defense, I am simply doing my job.
What a pity that your display of courage is in vain. This is the debtor's ledger, which details all monies loaned by the accused. You'll find the victim's name clearly recorded inside.
Oh.
Allow me to present this ledger as evidence. Drink it, will you? And pray forgive this discourtesy of raising my chalice in a toast to the enigmatic East at the same time. A marvelous toast, Counsel! I'll gladly accept this new evidence.
The debtor's ledger. A catalog of people who have borrowed money from the defendant at a high rate of interest. Includes the victim who owed 20 guineas.
Oh yes, 20 guineas. The victim owed a considerable sum. And the accused made quite certain he had ample recompense.
Well, Bushim, I've had the wool pulled over my eye. Oh, crap.
Regrettably, madam, that is the modus operandi of the accused.
Motive? The motive?
And it's such a pretty little pock too. What a scoundrel!
Oh.
Still,
What?
maybe it's all for the best.
Why? Please don't, please don't, please don't. Ah, but wait a minute. Let's think about this a little more before.
I don't stand for nonsense.
Oh, crap. Did I screw up? Oh, no. Did I screw up? That was it. The last juror's decision. Did I screw up so badly? All I did was press everybody's statements. According to the Encyclopedia of British Law, when all members of the jury have concluded that the defendant is guilty, court proceedings are suspended, and the presiding judge will deliver the final verdict and sentence. That's what it says here. The final verdict. It's over then. So I screwed up? Is that what it is? Oh! There's a footnote, though. A footnote? What? However, the defense. What?
All 6 members of the jury are now in agreement with the case.
The defense can do what? The defense can do what? What can the defense do? You bow just like Edgeworth.
Allow me to convey my respect for your swift and righteous decision. According to the laws of this country, I will now conclude the trial by delivering my final verdict. I trust there are no objections.
Mr. Sato. Just tell me one thing. Oh, yes? You were in the middle of saying something before. The footnote in your Encyclopedia of British Law. However, the defense... What was it? What did it say next? Oh, yes. Of course. One moment. When all members of the jury had concluded that the defendant is guilty, court proceedings are suspended and the presiding judge will deliver the final verdict sentence. Then the footnote says, however, the defense has the right to demand a summation examination of the jurors at this point. What? Summation examination? What is it? What is this? A summation examination.
Objection!
A summation examination. From which century has a Ptolemy of there been resurrected?
Ah!
Judging from the binding, I would say the book is at least 50 years old. Any modern text in British law wouldn't even give such an antiquated procedural mention. It's a relic, long forgotten, and certainly no longer practiced. So you're out of luck.
Oh. What even is it, Mr. Sato? That so-called summation examination. Oh, one moment, and I'll read about it.
You would demand the right to a procedure before you even understand what it entails.
Yes. Considering the fact that we didn't know a lot before the court, I'm pretty sure we'll do anyways. Basically, just jump before you leap before you look.
Typical Nipponese.
Alright, Mr. Naruto, I think I understand. It seems that under this procedure, we will be able to appeal to the members of the jury. To do what, exactly? Appeal to them to change their leaning and reverse their decisions. And it says here that... If successful, the proceedings of the trial must be resumed. Make them reverse their decisions? How? How do you do that? How do you do that?
Yes, in times gone by, barristers would use a summation examination to attempt to influence the jury's decision. But that procedure became something of a formality with no practical benefits, rather. Really. So it's rather fell out of use.
I wonder why.
Because it was devoid of purpose. Changing just one member of the jury's mind would be hard enough, let alone several. No self-respecting defense barrister would even assert his right to try in this day and age.
Still, I don't see any mention of the procedure actually being formally revoked, so there's still a chance.
What are you suggesting?
I'm suggesting that although it may be antiquated and largely forgotten, it isn't yet extinct. What do you think, Mr. Naruto? We're gonna do it. I'm gonna slap my face and get started. Summation examination. Our last possible option. Do we assert our right to carry it out, or admit defeat? Assert our right! Ah, crap, The defense wishes to exert its right to a summation examination, my lord!
Objection!
Oh, I like the German font.
London is the capital city of the most powerful nation on earth. We have a duty to the world to exemplify the very highest standards of judicial procedure. Summation examinations are an embarrassment that shall remain buried.
Objection!
But if it's alright, it's alright. I believe it could prove vital in this trial.
The defense's petition is perfectly valid. The court will proceed with the summation examination.
How do I do the summation exam? How do I do?
This is madness. I would say this is Sparta, but that's different. Woman, are you and the remainder of the jury ready?
Well, not. There was no mention of this in the letter I received, you see, so...
Hello again.
All members of the jury will be asked to explain on what grounds they have reached the decision.
On what grounds,
You must all justify your decision and explain why you believe the defendant to be guilty.
Well, my lord, you're rather putting us on the spot. I swear in this courtroom. Oh man, it's getting hot in here. Just wait that guy though.
This is most irregular. No mention was made of this before. I don't really hold with this justifying lock. You got nothing to say? That seems to have thrown the jurors off. No, it seems none of them experienced this before. Alright then. Summation examination. A defense procedure no practicing lawyers attempted for years, is it? Well, just maybe. It might be the opportunity we've been looking for. To turn this trial around.
So be it then. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the court hereby calls upon you to state the grounds on which you find the defendant, Magnus McGilded, guilty of this most serious crime. Also, it sounds like Dumbledore. That's his name.
Judicial findings. The jurors' contentions.
There was no one else inside the carriage at the time, so it must have been him.
I trust the driver. He has an excellent memory, it seems. 4 passengers with fares totaling 20 pence. I just deleted everything on my YouTube. Why? Why?
He stuck the chap right next to him just like this. Brazen, I must say. Absolutely brazen.
I have simply typed and collated all the statements made thus far and drawn the logical conclusion.
Wait, what?
You can trust the guild. Fair affairs is a matter. You haven't raised prices above 4 pence for years.
This scoundrel stabbing that poor man on the floor. It beggars belief.
Wait, what? Stabbing the poor man on the floor. Wait, what? I'm starting to wish I hadn't pushed for this now. Some of the jurors don't seem to have wonderfully formed arguments, though, do they? Well, let's see what we can do. We need to get these 6 people to change their minds. I have to throw everything I can at them and use some very persuasive language. Just a moment, Naruto. According to my book, that's not quite how it works. Oh? I thought I was going to have to thaw their icy minds with some heart-warming rhetoric about the defendant. Unfortunately, once the jurors have decided the defendant is guilty, they're unlikely to heed anything the defense says. But then, they've reached their conclusions by their own reasoning, you see. Their pleas will sound like your pleas will sound like excuses. In fact, it could recoil on you. The more you try to persuade them, the more entrenched they may become. Then what on earth am I supposed to do? Oh dear, I'm just citing what I've read about British law. Listen, how to... Right, I'm sorry. Do you have any idea on how to make this work then? Well, from what I can understand... I slap the book and point my finger. The key to the procedure is using the juror's own words to make your argument. What do you mean? Well, the 6 members of the jury are randomly selected members of the public. They may appear to be present at a united front, but the truth is, they are complete strangers who just happen to find themselves here in the courtroom together. And that's the way to break them down. You mean? Yes, exactly. We must listen very carefully to what each member of the jury says, and see if we can identify any contradicting statements. If we can contrast the statements and pit the corresponding jurors against each other. So if one juror says something, and another juror says something else which doesn't work with the other, I do that?! I see, so it's contradicting 2 or more jurors say that we're looking for. In what way? I think I did find one example of that random guy saying stab the guy like this, but the old lady was like stabbed him like this. Huh. This is similar to a regular cross-examination. Oh, yes, I suppose you're right. find contradictions in their statements and pit the jurors against one another to break them down. Really? That's how it works? Alright, I might be able to pull this off. No, that's not right. Oh, you double slap! I have to pull this off!
Can we start proceedings, counsel? I would ask you to take the stand for this. I'm expecting a clear and concise rebuttal.
Yes, my lord. Really? Jury examinations. The defense's rebuttal. So, Naruhado has to take the stand. Alright, and it's getting late. Should I stop here? I really want to stop here. It's been an hour, and how long have I been going? I'm gonna double check. It's been an hour and 41 minutes. I really do want to stop here. I'm very curious to see what's going on. Very curious to see what's going on. I'm very curious to see what's going on. But I got work tomorrow. Because I have to work. Yeah, I gotta work in the morning. Check Discord. Oh, God. Alright, what is it? What did you send me? What the hell? Oh, God. Oh, God, that's what you sent me. You put a frickin' tic-tac-toe against the juror's face right here. I'll actually show this in here, hold on a second. This thing right here. This. That's what I see right here. Oh, yeah, I'm gonna show that right here. Okay. Alright, I gotta get going. I gotta relax. I'm a little bit tired, so I gotta stop and think. Like, I'm enjoying this so far. I'm liking where this game is going. That's why I talked about it a lot. And I really gotta get a few things done as well. There's so much I gotta do every single day. I gotta get back into melodics. I really do want to get back into this game. I gotta double live stream. I gotta do stuff every single day. Every day I work. Live stream. Do things. Cook. Clean. Do things. Go from one place to the next. There's only so much time and energy I do. Like my motto every single day, whatever I do or want to do requires more time, energy, effort, and money than I can ever produce. So in the meantime, I gotta get going. I thank you all for joining. I thank everybody for coming in, especially you, Aaron, and Nath, who showed up. So I like what's going on. I really do, but I gotta stop here and prepare for work tomorrow. So whoever wants to join in and find out what's going on tomorrow, if I'm actually able to get back, unless I do another live stream. I don't know, either or, I gotta go. So thank you all for joining, and I'll see you all in the next live stream.